Yeah, no glue. Thank goodness. All right. I have a better idea for the rest of these. That'll be easier. But let's finish this the way I started it. It's a bung that wasn't never trimmed. Interesting. I'll just leave it be for now. This is pretty tight. I don't really like having this ledge here, but it's sealed pretty well. There's a little water damage just starting there. I'm gonna try to, I might even cut. I really wanted to keep as much of these intact as I can, but it looks like I'm gonna have to excavate around the screws and extract them. I'd like to try to save the screws too. Splinters. That's just gonna, yeah, whatever. I'm getting so annoyed already. Why did I start doing this? Why did I start doing this stupid project? Stupid. And I'm already digging into the screw. Yeah, these bungs are not very thick. I may have to just cut this whole thing. This is way too many steps anyway. All right, enough playing around. I'll still have enough small bits of this that'll be maybe useful for plugs or whatever, but I'm tired of fighting with this. I don't have the rest of the summer to devote to this, so I'm just gonna try to get it off. I already bent that screw just trying to get the screwdriver bedded on it. Teak is funny though, it doesn't want to just split down the middle. Oh man. Well, this blade is getting dull. I don't have another. I gotta go get lunch anyway, so I may as well spend $100, $200 getting lunch so I can get another blade and who knows what else. I should never have started this. I'm full of regret right now. Let me just try a little more here. Oh, good. Although I'm making it tighter, though. I don't want to break that screw off. Oh, damn it. There we go. Trying not to get a splinter here. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay. A good purchase with this one. Yep. Yes. Oh, I might be able to reuse this one. Sort of. You know, I flatten one side of it. Teak. Unbelievable stuff. Success. That one was in really deep. And yeah, they're thoroughly saturated. Oh, my Elmer Fudd. Thoroughly saturated with epoxy. Kind of an awkward way to do it, but it works. They are tight. Loose a little bit. No, it just bends. It just wants to bend when I do that. Gotta keep going at it the hard way. It'll come eventually. The good news is, with each turn, it gets looser. Isn't that funny how that works? It's crazy, right? The first couple ones I cut on either side and then tried to turn the whole block, but I was flirting with disaster that doing that, risking gouging this. What you see here is part of that, not part of the deck plank. I don't want to keep it that way. I don't want to tear any more of that out. I don't know if I mentioned, well, I'm going to include the picture in this edit, but this wood trim, this paneling, was also not in here. It was just like a nice light gray, smooth fiberglass cockpit, and I kind of like that look for this boat. This is too dark and too woody. Might be part of the pirate drag era. And whoever did that, if you happen to be watching this at some point, I totally get the aesthetic. It was so well done. It was really, really kind of cool, but just not practical for me. Just not the way I envision my boat being, you know. It was very well done, though. Although I will say that Russ, who built this boat and designed the rig, the cutter rig, he told me the jib boom was just pointless, that it would sail just fine with 2 foresails, a flying jib, or whatever you want to call it, on the short bowsprit. So eliminating that eliminates so much complexity, not to mention about 8 feet worth of marina fees at places where they charge you for overall length. Oh yeah, who's your daddy? I didn't think that was gonna work. This is the one I broke off earlier, the first one I tried to pull out. Yeah, didn't think that would work. I usually have terrible luck with these extractors. Got this out with very little fuss. Didn't break the screw this time. No damage to the deck. Look at that. Oh. I can't wait to show you when I get this cleaned up. You know, this is kind of like the residue up front where the cat heads were. But that's fine. I'm not going to go crazy trying to take all this off. I'm going to let it wear. Just going to let it wear. I'm taking a few minutes to recharge the multi-tool, the oscillating tool. Everything. But here's what I've got so far. I've come up with a system, getting a little faster and cleaner with each piece. So far it's gone very well, except right here I tried my best to get a blade in there to separate the actual deck teak from the block. I don't know if it was, there's no signs that it was really glued, but there's varnish and things. I don't know, maybe it was already a little softened or something, but that kind of blew out. I might be able to put something in there later, but it's not terribly important right now. For now, I'm just gonna eventually sand it a little smoother so it doesn't splinter. Cut a little tiny bit too far in a couple of places, but again, not the end of the world. It already looks better. I love sitting here so much more now. Notice there's no block under my butt. It's cool. The other reason I'm removing it is that I noticed during a very heavy rainfall the other day that with the railing, sort of the tow rail thing in place, a lot of the water was being diverted that would otherwise have gone into the cockpit. I think I'd rather have these other 2 drains sharing that duty. They were getting overwhelmed. There was standing water in there. Part of the reason they were getting overwhelmed is both of the drain hoses connected to those were badly clogged with debris. I blew them out with the garden hose yesterday, and they should drain much better now, but this is going to be good. There's going to be going in here. Ultimately, all this stuff, which is to support the covers, is going to also go away. The covers are going to go away. Whether or not the wood trim is going to remain, obviously I have to frame out that hole once I decide how big it has to be and do what I got to do. If I'm going to keep the pine or whatever it is, I'm going to have to obviously repair that better. If I'm more careful cutting this hole, I might have an intact piece that I can fit in there. I also gotta, before I cut my next hole, I'm gonna see about removing this box. That may give me the access I need to get at the other filler net, which you can see is right there. I haven't really started. I've started clearing the way in the engine room for that, but I haven't really started working on freeing the tank itself. I think I've done enough for today. I was up with the chickens today, working on the hull, on the top side area, just mostly caulking and final touch-ups of the fairing, stuff like that. I'm gonna clean this up and then call it a day. Dayton passed by earlier. We were talking about the tanks, and he offered to introduce me to the tank guy, very close to here, who just did the tank on his boat, or the tanks. I think there were 2 of them. So I think that'd be a good thing to do, even though I'm certainly not ready to order or pay for new tanks. It'd be good. I'll probably bring the one I have out, bring it over there, let him look at it. He might tell me that it's salvageable, although I doubt it. I doubt it very much. At going on 50 years old, even though it's not leaking, I don't know. The weather's the next couple weeks is looking pretty good. There's a few more days just like this. Barely a cloud in the sky, not a drop of rain. Mid-60s at night, but it's going to rain for 4 days straight, starting the weekend, I think. So I'm going to get out of here early. I got stuff to do at home. I got no work for a while, but yeah, I got other stuff to do. Ain't it typical? Before I started this little project, I figured I'll be taking out like 12 screws and prying up some wood. Look at everything I needed to do that. I was going to hold off, but I think I'm going to continue removing the rest of this stuff. It'll make the other work easier. So there we have it. It's gonna need some TLC. And this is kind of a surprise. Well, these pieces are, they drilled in part way. And I don't know if they line up completely. Maybe a little bit. I've never seen that before. It's got something to do with, there was varnish in there. Very interesting. All my years of doing carpentry, I've never seen that kind of joint where there's little holes like that. They don't go all the way in. They're just like dimples. Not sure what that's all about, but it came off. It all came off pretty clean. Had another blowout here. Not the end of the world. In fact, it's looking like this whole section may need replacing. Even if I have to do the whole plank, it's not very big. It's a pretty complicated shape, but I could even create a new joint here. In fact, yeah, I've already cut into that a little bit, so I might want to. But I like it better already. I might want to look at the manual to see how this is set up before I break something. There's a plastic plug there. There's another plastic plug there. I don't think those have to come out though. All right, meanwhile, Let's have a stab at these. Okay. Still flexible, whatever it is. What's this? A different kind of? Oh no, same kind of screw. There's another cleat on the bottom. It's loose on the top. On the top, this cleat is attached to the box. Bottom is hanging. There it goes. Bada bing. Oh, of course. I thought there'd be a hole that way. Of course. Engine telegraph. In very good shape. Let me show you again. Very, very nice condition. Still got some grease on it. It's not that old. This is probably was installed when the new engine was installed. Almost certainly. What does this mean though? No, obviously, since there's no hole here, I might make a hole for now, just big enough for my hand that will be hidden by this, instead of going all out like I did on the other side. Do I want to do that today? No, I got some other stuff to do today. I think I'm going to stop with this for now and clean this area up and put away the 75,000 tools that I needed to do this little bit of work. Everything had to stop for a while because I found a new problem that caused me to jump into action, taking a much closer look at all the seams on the aft deck and redoing a lot of the Sikaflex. Because while I was preparing to remove the starboard tank, I had to get rid of the ray cores and the raw water strainer unit to make more room. And while doing that, I noticed something I hadn't before. Something really, really bad. That's the starboard tank right there. I've already started picking at it, but as you can see, we got a ton of rotten wood. We've got a rotten deck beam, we got rotten plywood in the cockpit. None of this was apparent when I first inspected the boat, only because I didn't poke at that. The paint looked perfect. There was no water staining, no peeling paint. The paint was simply holding the shape of a deck beam. Oh boy. Really bad. At this point, I felt like this project was spiraling out of control. I was starting to hate this boat. It felt like an albatross around my neck, and I just wanted to run away. I really did. Who's your daddy? I don't know how I did that. Well, I made a mess. Had to remove the through hull. Had to cut away some of the corner of the cockpit, which is rotten anyway, so taking this 2x4 out helped tremendously. I'm gonna put it back immediately. But first, this thing is getting out of here. Still fuel coming in there.